Hello, Durud and Shalom. How's everyone doing? Make sure you like the stream. Okay, I see the live chat is already busy. That's fantastic. It's fantastic that you guys are already here. Jack is here. Flying Robot Duck is here. Vic, Heavy Griddle, fantastic. Guys, by the way, I already discussed this topic on the Persian channel, so I wanted to make sure I discuss it here as well. This is a little bit more nuanced. This is regarding the unity between Israel and Azerbaijan against the Islamic Republic, which is actually quite bizarre because Azerbaijan is the percentage, on a percentage basis, Azerbaijan is the #1 Shia country in the world. Like it's not Iran, it's not Iraq, it's actually Azerbaijan. So percentage wise, if you think about it, Azerbaijan is the most Shia country in the world. Azerbaijan is a major ally of Israel. Let me know in the chat why you guys think that is, because I actually haven't looked into this. But you have Azerbaijan, which is an Islamic country. It's not just the government that is an ally of Israel. The people there are actually also very Israel friendly. It's not like, so it's very interesting because in Iran, the people are Israel friendly. Many people in Iran are Israel friendly, but the government is not Israel friendly. In some Arab countries around the Persian Gulf, the governments are trying to get closer to Israel, but the people are not very Israel friendly. In Azerbaijan, which is an Islamic country, is both the people and the government is Israel friendly, which is interesting. Oh, Jewish Samantha is saying, "I love Azerbaijan." Yeah, okay. And there's something Azeris aren't that religious. True. However, they're still Muslim. They're still consider themselves Muslim, which is interesting. So yeah, Jack is saying their interests in the region overlap. Azerbaijan doesn't like the Islamic Republic. That and yeah, yes, true. But the people, I mean, it seems like it goes deeper, which is I have to look into it. But Israel is taking full advantage of that, which is making a major ally right at the border of Iran against the Islamic Republic. It's working in their favor. This is a threat to the border integrity of Iran, so which we will talk about today. Again, I mentioned on the Persian channel that whatever happens, we have to blame the Islamic Republic. But again, this is so it's very interesting because in Azerbaijan, the government is doing there what Iran wishes that their government was doing. Basically, in Azerbaijan, even though it's a Shia country, the government is using nationalism against Islamism. So the government in Azerbaijan is focusing on nationalism, and they see Islamism as a threat to the country, especially as a threat by the foreign agents of the Islamic Republic. So the government in Azerbaijan is very suspicious and usually cracks down on Shia, activities, the mosques, their rituals that they have, annual rituals, Shia rituals. The government cracks down on those, considering it the fifth column, considering it the Islamic Republic's way of getting into Azerbaijan. Oh wait, we got a super chat already. Good, thank you guys. I will read the super chats during the show, and super chats are a great way to support the show. So thank you. So Kondovo is saying over 1,000 years of friendly relations between local Jews and Azeris. Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that. Thank you for letting me know. So that suggests that this is not a recent thing, that it's not a recent convenient unity against the Islamic Republic. It seems like it goes deeper. Yeah, because I see videos from inside Azerbaijan of people holding their flags and also holding Israel flag. You know how you see similar images from the Druze, right? You see that in Azerbaijan as well, which is actually a good thing to point to, to some pro-Israeli people who are anti-Muslim, because on this channel, we're not anti-Muslim. On this channel, we're anti-Islam, but we're not anti-Muslim, okay? We're against ideas. We're not against people, unless they've proven to be dangerous, okay? Right? So, and again, it's good to point to, again, if anti-Arab racism from the pro-Israel, if among us pro-Israeli people, we could point to the Druze to basically fight against anti-Arab racism because the Druze are Arab, right? And again, anti-Muslim narratives, we could now point to, how Azerbaijan people, Muslims in Azerbaijan, are considered a major ally of Israel. That's a good way to basically. So I think it makes sense to be anti-Islam, but I don't want to be anti a large group of people. And I think like looking at Azerbaijan is a good way to fight that sort of narrative. What do you guys think? Right? Again, when I say I'm anti-Islam, I'm not gonna um, I'm not gonna go back on that. Like I'm as aggressive. I'm very aggressive in my anti-Islamic position, and I think they could go both hand in hand. Like I think a proper Muslim will see that I'm just against their ideology, and we could be friends while I'm anti their ideology. I mean, I have Muslim friends who accept my anti-Islam position, which so is possible. Also, Vic is saying we love each other in Eurovision too. That's how deep it goes. Interesting. So, I want to see the people in the chat who are support Israel, and also they think like all Muslims are bad. What would they say? What would they say to this then, given that Israel has a major ally in both the Azerbaijan government and the people? Yes, I will get to this. You say, again, I can't read your name because it's in Hebrew. You're saying, I think the Azeris buy really good firearms and system from us for many years. Yeah, but based on the super chat that we just got, it seems like it goes much deeper. Jason is saying they can't be your friend, Armin. Well, they are. I mean, they shouldn't. But again, not every Muslim understands Islam. Thankfully, right? Or they follow it. So I'm saying I agree, but it's complicated for a lot of people to have both positions. Yeah, people are complicated. So yeah, Jason is saying then they aren't following Islam. Yeah, most Muslims don't follow Islam. Thankfully, that doesn't make them not a Muslim. If you don't follow Islam, you're still a Muslim. You're just a Muslim who's not following the religion that much. I mean, that's not very. I mean, most Christians don't follow Christianity, and most Jews don't follow the Jewish religion, and most Hindus don't follow Hinduism. However, when it comes to Muslims, Muslim not following Islam is the best part. Is the best one, because Muslims following Islam would be the most dangerous situation, right? So most people who label themselves as belonging to a religion don't follow the religion. Oh yeah, Gene. Hey, Gene is here. Gene saying, "I'm Israeli from the USSR. We have a bunch of Azeri Muslims mixed in with the Jews from the area. I have a few friends who are technically Muslim. Yeah, guys. The way I categorize it is like this, right? We have nominal Muslims, minimalist Muslims, reformist Muslims, conservative Muslims, and then radical Muslims. I don't call them fundamental Muslims because technically all Muslims are fundamental. Well, and most Muslims, yeah, I'm not. I don't. I think radical ones are the most close to Islam, right? And I think the vast majority of Muslims are fit into to the first two category: nominal Muslims and minimalist Muslims. Nominal Muslims are Muslims who just have the label Muslim, but their lives are identical to a non-Muslim. Minimalist Muslims are people who have the name Muslim and they also do the bare minimum, meaning that they fast, pray, fast during Ramadan, and they pray and they avoid pork. Still, sometimes they might drink alcohol, but they avoid pork, and that's about it, right? And that's a minimalist Muslim, right? And I think the vast majority of Muslims are nominal Muslims and minimalist Muslim, and then the other ones are the the reformists, the conservatives, and the radicals. All right, so let's actually get to the point of this show and why this is actually important. Because let me actually tell you the conversations on the Iranian side, because I just finished the show on the Iranian side. So and also, by the way, for some reason now every time I do my show on the Iranian side, my chat is getting filled with pro-regime Iranians who come and swear, and then they swear at me, they swear at my mother, they swear at the sister that I don't have, and the daughter that I don't have, and they insult Israel and Pahlavi, and they keep saying things. So they salute their Khamenei, and it's filled. My chat is now filled with that, which is helping the Persian. By the way, it's really helping the Persian channels, because they come in and the chat is filled with hateful messages, which is getting me a lot of engagement, and is getting me a lot of views. So it's really good to have this many haters. I hope somehow we manage to attract this level of hate on this channel. Hopefully, at some point, because the haters are really good for the YouTube algorithm, because they come and they just fill the chat with their hateful messages, and that's basically how your channel can grow. So let's just hope that we get some haters here as well, because the Persian channel is growing really fast, right? Like the audio, the viewership is really good. So what a lot of these pro-regime people accuse us of is that we are supporting an attack on our country. Oh, we got another super chat. I'll respond to that soon. We are basically the attacks on our country by Israel. We are basically traitors. We're selling out. We're sellouts. We're selling out our country, and this is an attack on our border integrity. This is going to tear the country apart and stuff like that, right? And what we always actually tell them, that the enemy of Iran is the Islamic Republic. So anything that attacks the Islamic Republic is actually not anti-Iran, it's pro-Iran. However, another point that we like to make, which I'm going to point to, is that the borders of Iran is actually under threat. D is here. Hi, D. Is being threatened because of the Islamic Republic in so many different ways. On the east, from the south, and also from the northwest, which is the Azerbaijan situation, which I will talk about. Right? Okay. Let me actually respond to the super chat. Kondovo is saying 150,000 mountain Jews in Israel who originate in Azerbaijan, Caucasus. Their language is Juhuru, aka Judotat. Now they speak Hebrew too. Wow, you have a lot of good information, Kondovo. That's interesting. Let me actually try to mountain Jews. Never heard that term before. Mountain Jews. Okay. Interesting. Thank you. That's very cool. Have you guys heard that before? Mountain Jews? Sam is saying my boss is a mountain Jew. What the hell is a mountain Jew? Interesting. All right. So here's what makes some people uneasy. Oh wow, we're getting a lot of super chats today. I would read that too. Here's what makes it some people easy. The unity between Israel and Azerbaijan makes some Iranians think that Israel might make a move on threatening the border integrity of Iran from the northwest, right? Also, Israel has a history of working with groups that Kurdish secessionists. So this is making some people nervous. And basically, Israel has three different pressure points against the Islamic Republic. One is when it comes to looking into Iran, allying with the nationalist front, with the nationalist people that are basically under the leadership of Reza Pahlavi. These people are very, very sensitive about the border integrity of Iran, and rightfully so, right? And then another group is maybe working with some Kurdish secessionists, which if Israel does that, it will lose a lot of the support that it's getting from the nationalist Iranians, and also maybe the secessionist Azeris, because Azerbaijan is the name of a country, but so it's also a name of a province. So the north in Iran, in the northwest of Iran, there's a province called Azerbaijan. There's a country named Azerbaijan, and there's a province in Iran called Azerbaijan, and they share the border. And there's Azeris on the both side of this border. So Azerbaijan, and there's a lot of cessationists, well, not a lot actually, I don't know, but there are some people who want to secede and basically take the parts of the Azerbaijan province of Iran and make it join the Azerbaijan country and make it a thing. So that's why Israel's closeness with Azerbaijan as a country makes some Iranians nervous. Let me actually look at the super chat. By the way, thank you guys. I will read the super chats. Super chats are a very good way to support the channel. Par 1138 is saying, what is your opinion on the news source or YouTube channels that align most with the unsurpassable Atheist Republic? What? I don't get this. Align most with the guys, can somebody translate this for me? I don't understand what you're saying. Is this a joke? Hold on. I think is this a compliment joke? Is this yeah, I think it's a joke. I think this is just a compliment, right? Or am I misunderstanding this? Yeah. Well, if this is a compliment, I appreciate that. Is it? Is that what it is? Somebody help me. I have like low social IQ. Oh, basically you're asking me where to go for the news? Okay, so I honestly I get my news a lot. The analysts that I follow, they speak Persian, so I don't know if that's going to help you. Oh, okay. So it's a compliment and a serious question. Okay, so you're saying where do I get my news? Okay, so I get my news from Iran International, and then some analysts who speak Persian. And then here's a trick that I do. I go into major media outlets whenever there's an article that everybody is talking about on social media, new analysis, I don't know, by Reuters or anywhere else that like some serious analyst has posted something. I grab the link and I post and I drop it in ChatGPT. So for example, let's say Reuters has a new analysis that is basically everybody is talking about, like within the past 24 hours, like, oh my god, this analysis, like I see this analysis referring to it, that analysis referring to it. So like, oh my god, what is this analysis, what is this new report that everybody's talking about? I just go grab the link and I just drop it in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT analyzes that article to me, and I just read the analysis of ChatGPT. That's what I do also, especially using the O3 model. Yeah, but most of the my favorite analyst right now is Murad Vaisi, but his analysis is in Persian, so I don't know if that's going to help you guys. I mean, what you could do, you could actually Murad Vaisi. What you could do is you could actually grab his videos and put it in Gemini, because Gemini, this is something that ChatGPT cannot do, but Gemini can. Gemini can actually watch YouTube videos now. So Murad Vaisi, here I'll put his name. Maybe you guys. So you could actually go and go look at his channel. He has a personal channel. I really like this guy's analysis because he goes and reads the best other people's analysis, and he also is really very well informed. But he's constantly reading, and he basically takes them and he gives me like gives us all his analysis. So that is his channel. So what you could do with Gemini, even though it's in Persian, you could drop the link of his analysis into Gemini and then get Gemini to explain it to you what the video is saying in English. Right. So, but thank you for the super chat. Does that help? I hope that helps. I do watch a lot of Iran International. Iran International. So Iran International has a lot of articles in English as well, but I watch the Persian, the Persian shows on YouTube. Yeah. I also follow a lot of mullahs in Iran. Like I follow a bunch of hardliners in Iran. I follow their accounts. I listen to, like, I go in and listen to their conversations just to see what the pro-regime people are saying. Like, yeah. So that's another thing. Kondovo, thank you so much for the super chat saying Mountain Jews is equals to Mizrahi Jewish subgroup from Azerbaijan Caucasus. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know Mizrahi Jews. Okay, so Mizrahi Jews, I thought they come from the Middle East to Israel. So apparently there's different kinds of Mizrahi Jews. I'm learning from the super chat. Thank you. We're getting financial support and education at the same time. Double win. Thank you. Saying they're related to Persian Jews. They are? Thanks for supporting Israel, Armin. Oh my God, that's interesting. Wait, with the Persian Jews, Iranian Jews in Israel, what are they considered? Are they considered Mizrahi? Or are they there? Are the Iranian Jews? Are they just their own category, or are they Mizrahi? Are they considered Mizrahi? They are Mizrahi. Okay, interesting. You know, when I came to Israel, one thing that I regret. Oh, saying yes, Mizrahi. Okay. One thing that I regret is that when I came to Israel, I couldn't get in touch with Iranian Jews. Like I wanted to, like nobody could put me in touch with them. I was like, I'm in Israel. Can I meet some Iranian? Where are the Iranian Jews? Can I meet them? And the group that I was in didn't know how to put me in touch, so I didn't meet them. Next time, maybe when I come to Israel next time, we will make that happen. Okay, let me actually give you some of what's happening. Let me actually give you the Azerbaijan situation. Azerbaijan is deepening military ties with Israel, allegedly, and guys, let me know if you think this is true, allegedly allowing its airspace for attacks on the Iranian regime. At the same time, the US is pushing the Zangezur Corridor plan, which, if built, would sever Iran's land access to Armenia and place NATO-linked forces near its border. Basically, everything is closing in on the Islamic Republic. This exposes the regime's strategic failures and growing isolation, while a coalition of old foes and former allies surrounds it. It's not basically, yeah, this is guys, there's so many things happening at the same time around the world that is making the situation really unbearable for the Islamic Republic. Let me tell you something. I don't like to predict the future, but I would be surprised if the Islamic Republic, again, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I would be surprised if the Islamic Republic lasts another year, especially because, not just because the second rounds of attacks of Israel seems to be coming coming soon, maybe in the less than 3 months from now, but also because the snapback mechanism is going to completely close any amount of breathing room that the Islamic Republic has. So things are changing very, very fast, and it would be strange if the Islamic Republic survives. Let me be more conservative. Another 2 years, it would be odd. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible. It is possible, but it would be odd if they survive another 2 years, given everything that is happening. By the way, guys, do you think that actually Azerbaijan allowed, because Azerbaijan's government is denying this, but do you think Azerbaijan permitted Israeli jets, drones, and refueling tanks to use its airspace during the 12-day war? So the evidence for that, they suggest, is that Israeli F-35 fuel tanks washed ashore on the Caspian coast. Drone radar traces and eyewitnesses accounts from border towns reporting Israeli aircraft entering Iranian airspace over provinces in June, but Azerbaijan's government deny it, even though there's some media um, outlets within Azerbaijan actually confirm this as well. But the Azerbaijan's government itself is denying it. Oh, we're getting another super chat. Let me respond to this. Mizrahi is a big and diverse group because technically it just means east of the Western Roman Empire. Okay. Jews in North, is that North Russia make this definition messy. Okay, interesting. So, and the main two are just Mizrahi and Ashkenazi, right? That's the main two. I mean, we have some people coming from Africa and China as well, so we should count them as well. But those are the main two groups. And I know this about the history of Israel, that in the early history of Israel, there seems to be Mizrahi Jews were being treated unfairly compared to Ashkenazi Jews in Israel in the early history of Israel. But now that has become a lot better, and Mizrahi Jews are now, more equal compared to the earlier history of Israel. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I think and I think the Mizrahi Jews in Israel were celebrated for a lot of what they contributed to the culture, the music, the arts, and they made Israel a lot more lively. And that now they're a lot more celebrated as part of Israel that compared to before, especially because the Ashkenazi Jews, when they came to Israel, they brought more wealth with them compared to Mizrahi Jews. So there was a two-class structure, I think, at the beginning. But now, so now we have more mixed marriages compared to before. Oh, and Gene is saying our Knesset spokesman is a gay Mizrahi Jew. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, see, progress. Torah is saying someone told me all Nobel Prize winners are Ashkenazi. I mean, it has been shown that Ashkenazi Jews have the highest levels of IQs. That has been demonstrated. I mean, it's mostly Ashkenazi Jews and then the East Asians that they have the highest level of IQ. So I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, Sephardic is a big group as well, but all these names have more to do with minor differences in liturgical traditions and religious practices. Interesting. Okay. Somebody saying just racist theory nonsense. It's not racist unless you actually say that it's inherent. If somebody says that it's environmental and cultural, then it's not racist. And also, it's just data. Like the data shows that. Like this is not theory. This is not a conspiracy. The data actually, like every data shows that. So that they are the highest level. They have the highest levels of IQ. I am not making this up. That's true. Guys, is that being like? Do you guys dispute that? Like, that every single data collected shows that, right? That Ashkenazi Jews and East Asians have the highest levels of IQ for some reason. Probably cultural and environmental. I think it has something to do with Ashkenazi Jews. It has something to do with their culture. And I think with East Asians has something to do with aggressive parents. I don't know, making them try to excel at education from early childhood. Jack is saying is IQ. Yeah, I don't think it's inherent. I think it's environmental. And if you say it's environmental, meaning it's cultural that means that it has nothing. It's not racist if it's environmental. Jack is saying, is IQ even a reliable measure of intelligence or cognitive ability? It is the most reliable. Nothing is 100% reliable. Nothing is perfect, but it is the best. It has been. It's very correlated to being successful in life, to the types of activities that we need to do to excel at life. IQ is actually the best measurement that we have so far. So yeah, it is really good. It is a good measurement. And again, people who don't want to use it, they point at the flaws of it and like, well, it doesn't capture this, it doesn't capture that, as if any form of measurement would be able to capture everything. Obviously, it has its flaws, but it's pretty good. It's good at what it does. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I don't know. Let me tell you something about Azerbaijan. So Pezeshkian, which is the president in Iran, is half Kurd, half Azer, and he just recently went to Azerbaijan, and he has a very close relationship to Aliyev, the president of Azerbaijan, and a lot of hardliners hate him for that because Azerbaijan is an ally of Israel. And how is the president? They have a video of him going to Azerbaijan, and he basically bowed his head when he was saying hi to Aliyev there. And they're like, dude, this Azerbaijan's airspace was just used by their permission to attack us. Why is our president going there and showing some respect? So there's a lot of drama there. Oh, also, it's very important that I mentioned this to you. Oh, I see another super chat by Shana. I will respond to that. This is also important. Raisi, you guys know Raisi. So the current president in Iran is Pezeshkian. The former president is Raisi, and he died in a helicopter accident. I don't know. A lot of Iranians, both pro-regime and anti-regime, think that he was assassinated. This was no accident, that helicopter. And it's just a matter of who did the assassination. Like, was it Israel or was it the regime? Those are the two main options right now, right? Some people suggest that it was Israel that took out Raisi. Some people suggest that it was the regime itself. What do you guys think? Right? So Raisi, when his helicopter went down, he was coming back from a meeting with Azerbaijani people, like in the northwest. They were basically doing their ribbon cutting ceremony for a dam or something with Azerbaijan, and he was coming back from that. And a lot of pro-regime Iranians think that Azerbaijan had something to do with the assassination of Raisi. Did you guys know this? So this is a major topic right now, that Azerbaijan and Israel, a lot of pro-regime Iranians, they blame Israel and Azerbaijan for the assassination of Raisi, the former president of Iran. That's okay. So Raisi's helicopter crash, and you guys know about the Zangezur Corridor, right? Do you guys know this? The Zangezur Corridor is okay. Let me actually tell this to you guys. Okay, this might seem a bit boring, but it's actually these economic corridors are so vital to understand, because a lot of times, access to seawater, access to oil and gas, and access to these, like being able to create these economic corridors and have access to them, these are many times behind. You sometimes follow the news and you think like, oh, they attacked this because these people hate those people. But many times, if you dig deeper, you realize that it was about access to this trade route. It was about being able to create this economic corridor. It was about being able to control this, pathway, this trade route. Or like a lot of times, if you dig deep into reasons why who is attacking who for what reason, it's not. I mean, the religious differences, the ethnic differences, and this group of people hating that group of people, they help in trying to find a way to spark the beginning of the war. But so many times the underlying reasons is these economic reasons. right? So it's good to understand, the different trade routes and the different economic corridors that are at play here for us to understand what we're talking about, right? So, for example, right across the, well, I'm not going to get into that, but like we could actually talk about, you know, the gas fields in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of, Gaza. We could talk about that. We could talk about the fall of Assad and that being able to provide finally for the Gulf, for the Persian Gulf surrounding Arab countries to start a corridor that goes through Syria and connects to Europe. And that's why the MBS is so eager to stop now that the Assad is gone, to stop the sanctions on Syria. These are all, the underlying reasons for many of the decisions that are being made, right? And even when we're talking stability and security, a lot of times you think like many of these decisions are stability and security for the sake of reducing the number of people being killed, and that is an important part of it. But one thing that you don't see, that instability is just really bad for business. Instability is very bad for business, and a lot of times there's a lot of financial pressure for, even if there's a war, you're attacking you, like for example the Islam, all everybody uniting against the Islamic Republic is because the Islamic Republic is a major source of chaos, and chaos is bad for business. This is why on this channel I keep telling you guys that capitalism is good for human lives, because when you talk about human rights and ethics and morality, that's all nice to talk about, but that doesn't move the powers in the world. Money does, economics does, right? And when you see human rights were created to justify creating stabilities that are good for business. And again, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I actually celebrate that, because we humans, we have this powerful force in favor of stability, which actually saves lives. You wouldn't be able to get this whole kumbaya, let's hold hands, let's bring stability to save human lives, just by talking about morality and human rights. It had to make sense for business. So this is why capitalism saves lives, because there's so much financial interest in stability, and stability saves lives. Do you understand? I hope that makes sense. We got two super chats. Let me actually respond to this. Shauna is saying IQ also changes over time. Yes, that's true. In early 1900s, Russian Ashkenazis had lower than average, and clearly that's changed in 100 years. Yeah, the fact that IQs change over time shows that this is very environmental. I mean, it is also genetical, but the differences between humans are mostly environmental. Okay. But obviously it's genetical. Many, like, not the differences between humans are not genetical. A little bit of it is, but mostly not. But human intelligence is obviously genetical, or else some humans would be as smart as a cat, right? Like obviously it's all our characteristics are genetics, but the differences between different humans, most of it is environmental. And the fact that they change so much over such a short amount of time shows that it's environmental. But that, yeah. So we have to see what is the cultural and historical and environmental reasons why Ashkenazi Jews, especially the ones that came out of Europe, were so high in IQ levels. Like what made that happen? I mean, it doesn't matter anymore, because intelligence is going to get so cheap with AI that higher intelligence is not going to matter, right? So we're getting. I mean, other than bragging rights, okay. So the importance of intelligence is dropping like a rock. So who cares, right? Yes. Okay, hold on. Uh, I'm kind of half kidding, by the way. Condovo, thank you so much for another super chat. is saying last super chat. Well, thank you, by the way. That was a lot of super chats. That's very generous. This really helps the channel. Thank you so much for all of that. Last super chat. We'll never say okay. Last super chat. Mizrahi Jews are gifted too. Obviously, yes. Every group of people have their own special, gifts. Special. Every group of people have, because of their culture, because of their environment, they have certain characteristics that makes them unique in a positive way. Iraq's first what is that? Minister. Okay. Minister of Finance 100 years ago was a Jew. Iraq's first minister of finance 100 years ago was a Jew. Jews excelled all over Middle East and North Africa pre-expulsion. Yep, that's Jews. Even though Ashkenazi Jews have a higher IQ, Jews as a whole, Mizrahi or not, they excel for some reason wherever they are on average compared to the rest of the population. Whether they're Mizrahi or Ashkenazi. And again, I don't think that's genetical. I think that's also that has something to. Here's what I think is the reason. Okay, it has nothing to do with being God's chosen people or having superior genes. I think it's a combination of having a religion that really emphasized on learning how to read from early for everybody, because that was unique back in the day. Like, back in the day, only really elite people in society knew how to read and write. But within the Jewish community, because of the religion, they needed to read the Torah. So everybody knew how to read. And that basically, the ability to read managed to give them jobs that only the most educated people could have in society. Like, basically, skill set, and basically they give them tasks that was only given to educated people, and that made them excel. Also, another reason why Jews excel more than the rest of society, in my opinion, is because they were always attacked, because they didn't have a country or an army to defend them. So they had to get clever with ways to survive in society. Right? So basically, they had to go. They didn't have a land, they didn't have a country, they didn't have an army to defend them. So they had to make themselves valuable somehow, wherever they are. And they needed to acquire skill set, because it wasn't about muscle strength, it wasn't about force. It's about attaining the skill set that makes you necessary. So that was a survival mechanism. And I think that's why also that having that culture made them excel, and they kept that as part of their culture and part of their identity. And that's why they continue to excel on average more than other people in society. The more haters you have, it's like our channel. It's like our YouTube channel. If we have more haters in the chat, our channel grows faster, right? So basically, this is this is basically the our channel's growth is the Jewish experience for the past I don't know, 2000, more than 2000 years, because they just had so many haters, so they just had to get good at things. Yeah. Somebody is saying you are thirsty bloodsuckers, which actually remind me, bloodsuckers, no, but I am thirsty. So thank you for reminding me to hydrate. Thank you for that. Thank you for that reminder. I am thirsty. That was right. All right. So okay, let me see. Okay. All right. Oh, we got another super chat. Oh, we got two super chats. Thank you. Cards and Death is saying Charles Murray says it was Jew haters who made Ashkenazi Jews smart by restricting them to margin businesses. Yes, If you're operating a merchant business, you marry off your girls to boys who can do math. Yeah, yeah, it's just that both finance and politics, for example, and also another. Yes, that's true. I believe I agree with that, and also because for some reason Christians didn't want to do anything that had any get involved in any business that had anything to do with interest. So because they didn't want to do that, they also gave that to the Jews. So that everything you said, everything I said, but also because dealing with lending money and making interest profit off of that was seen as taboo and I think maybe illegal in so many Christian societies, they gave it to the Jews, and that's why the Jews also excelled at finance because of that. Yes, this is exactly. This is why the enemies of the Jews made Jews so strong today. Torah is saying blood is not kosher. Is it? Is that true? I know it's haram. Yeah, usury. Yes, exactly. But I don't know because I don't know why Jews kept on doing it. Because if it's anti-Christian, it's also anti-Jewish religion. Maybe they had a different interpretation of what they're not supposed to do. By the way, thank you again, Cars, and therefore for the super chat. We got another super chat here saying, uh, Giles, guys, I'm really bad at reading names. McRicker, Giles McMicker saying, Armin, you're now surpassed Hamid, Nima Arkani Hamid as my favorite Persian. Really, I'm sorry to Nima. I apologize to Nima for this loss. Seriously, as a lawyer, I've been impressed by your argumentation. Wow, really, guys, I impressed a lawyer. That's a achievement unlocked. That's really good because this is seriously good because lawyers are really good at argument. So if I impress a lawyer, I must be doing something good. That's really good. And again, guys, I'm sorry to Nima. You lost a fan. My gain. Your loss, Nima. Your loss. Who is this Nima? Probably a good guy, though. Oh, thank you. Someone's saying, Armin, you're brilliant. Thank you. Well, I make sure you remember. Oh, I was going to tell you about the Zangezur Corridor. It's important, okay? The Zangezur Corridor refers to a 32-kilometer route across Armenia's his basically Armenia's what is this Siunic province. Historically, it was called Zangezur. Okay, Zangezur is easier for me to remember because it's Persian, linking Azerbaijan proper to its Nakhchivan. Again, I can't read the English version. I have to remember the Persian version so I could remember how to say it. Nakhchivan, and basically onward to Turkey. The route has been debated since Soviet times and was included in the 2020 ceasefire demand to unlock the regional transport. So let me actually just tell you what this whole thing is. Okay, it's easier for me to explain it, right? So Armenia, right, shares a border with the northern borders of Iran, and this Zangezur corridor basically goes right across the border, right in between the border, on the border of Armenia and the Islamic Republic. Okay, and both sides of Armenia now is Azerbaijan, and now Azerbaijan wants to completely control this Zangezur corridor, and the United States is now coming in and saying that we could actually create a company, have a company here that manages all of this, which means that if anybody messes with this, they're messing with America right now. This is devastating to not just the Islamic Republic, but also, unfortunately, to Iran. Because if Iran loses, basically that means that Iran doesn't share, technically Iran wouldn't be sharing a border with Armenia anymore because Azerbaijan is going to be right in the middle. That means that all economic corridors that were supposed to go through Iran, then through its northern borders, and then eventually to Europe, is now, and not Azerbaijan is in the middle of that, and now Azerbaijan will have full control over that, which is not just major cost to the Islamic Republic, but also to Iran even after the regime collapses. Because it's really hard to explain the importance of this north-south economic corridor and the amount of wealth and prosperity and economic activity that it brings along this way. I mean, if you look at it, like if you want to understand this, think about it like in ancient history, every time you had like a port city, you see cities growing around there because like cities and wealth always is generated around a major economic spot, major trade routes, right? And the economic corridors that are now being discussed, because guys, right, because of a lot of the chaos in this region, there is not enough proper ways to connect India and China uh, to the Middle East, to Europe. And eventually, when we manage to get rid of all of this Islamic mess in the Middle East, we will be able to connect these two, economies in a way that so many people, there's East and the West, in a way that is going to just exponentially increase economic activity and trade and growth and prosperity for everyone involved. And because the Iranian people, this is why we need to, for the sake of the Iranian people, we need to topple this regime faster, because so many economic corridors are just basically going around Iran because of the Islamic Republic instead of right through it. And this is going to delay the growth of the Iranian economy even after the regime falls by decades, which is really this is why I keep telling Iranians that you should be really grateful to Israel, even though Israel is like supporting Azerbaijan here. But Israel, like, which is kind of, Azerbaijan is basically the reason why we might be missing out on this, on our border with Armenia, which is going to be devastating. But at the end of the day, all of this is happening because the Islamic Republic is in power. And the only entity that is helping the Iranian people, the only force that is helping the Iranian people to get rid of the, like, if you're upset with this, don't be upset with Israel, don't be upset with Azerbaijan, be upset with the regime. Because if we had a powerful country that had normal relationships with all the people and had allies, like if we had a powerful Iran that was allied, like that was friendly with Israel, friendly with Azerbaijan, friendly with Saudi Arabia, friendly with China, friendly with the United States, friendly with European country, and just had normal economic ties and trade, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened. So if you're worried about the border integrity of Iran, don't worry. Like, you shouldn't be concerned about, oh my God, if the Islamic Republic collapsed, maybe there would be so much chaos that Iran would be cut into pieces, because Iran is already being cut into pieces under the Islamic Republic. If you want the Iran to stay intact, then we should be getting rid of the Islamic Republic, because they're already eating into Iran under this regime. Does that make sense? This is my argument on the Persian channel to people who are worried about this. Like, the only solution is to get rid of the regime. Yeah. Yes, I'm saying Iran as a normal country would change everything. The world will become such a better place if Iran becomes, like, it turns into a normal country. These are the four sources of instability in the world: are the Islamic Republic in Iran, the CCP in China, Putin in Russia, and North Korea, right? I mean, North Korea is mostly a regional threat, mostly to South Korea and Japan. The three other ones are, and Russia is more of a threat to Europe. Russia, I don't see Russia as a global threat. I see Russia as more of a threat to Europe. China is a threat, but it also is too tied into the world liberal order to want to make it collapse. So Russia and the Islamic Republic are so isolated. They're not they're not intertwined. Their economies are not mixed with the world, the global order, the world's economy enough. So they could be, because they have less to lose, they are more against it. China is the most powerful enemy of the world liberal order, but it also depends on the world liberal order so much. So that saves us a little bit there, right? The Islamic Republic is, among all these four, the Islamic Republic is the only one that is a global threat, not regional, but and also isolated enough to not be invested in the world liberal order, right? So let's look at among the four, both the isolated ones are Russia, the Islamic Republic, and North Korea, right? China is not isolated. China really benefits from the world liberal order, even though it makes moves against it sometimes, right? And from all the four, China and the Islamic Republic are global threats. North Korea and Russia are regional threats. So if you think about it the way I'm thinking, the Islamic Republic is the worst one because it is the most antagonistic against the world liberal order, and it's also a global threat. So it has the worst. It's the worst one among the four. Sean is saying China is also reversing some of its liberalizing policies, from what I've heard. Yes, because it's the difference between choosing the CCP or choosing China, right? So the CCP, the people in CCP, they're not idiots. They know that the path towards growth, economic growth, is liberalizing your policies. They know that. But so why are they not doing it if they know that China is going to get a lot richer? Because they would lose control. Because the key to economic prosperity is to give power to the people. The key to growing your economy and growing your country is for the people in power to give up control. So China knows what's best for China's economy, but they're choosing the CCP over the Chinese people. They're not idiots. They know. They're smart enough to know. So if you think about the four parts of a GDP, right? So what is, like, do I remember this? You have the gross domestic product, right? So you had government spending, household consumption, net exports. What was the fourth one? Oh, business investments. Those are the four. Did I get them right? Yes. So a healthy economy is an economy that has is basically the GDP is a mix of all these fours kind of equally, especially household income, right? But China's GDP grows by focusing on everything except household income. So China wants to have a really strong GDP by increasing government expenses, like government basically building shit, and also exporting as much as possible, but not letting household income increase, household expenditure. So basically, the buying power, they're keeping the Chinese people poor on purpose because they want the government to be controlling the GDP, not the Chinese people. But when the Chinese people are poorer, they could make shit for cheaper so that China could sell more to the world and basically control the economy, get the government to control the economy instead of the people, the free people of China basically having that economic power. The Chinese government doesn't just want the China's economy to grow. It wants the part of the economy of China that the government has control over to grow, not the people. And that's why if you look at the GDP of China, even though it's growing, it's an unhealthy growth because the demand, the household, the consumption, because the purchasing power of Chinese people are low, and they keep it low on purpose. Yeah, this is what is called state capitalism. This is why when I say I support capitalism, there's four types of capitalism. I support one of them. right? We have laissez-faire capitalism, we have regulated capitalism, we have crony capitalism, and then we have state capitalism. The capitalism that works is the regulated capitalism. That's the type of capitalism that works. Laissez-faire capitalism is basically like no regulations, no rules. Government is just like lets anybody does whatever they want. Okay, that's too much of a, if you need some controls, right? You need some regulation. Uh, State capitalism is what we have in China. So the state capitalism is when the government, when instead of being communist, you're like, okay, you go from being communistic to realizing that the power of the markets are too much to ignore. So you want to use the power of the markets, but under the strict control of the state. So that's state capitalism. Crony capitalism is basically not like is pretending to be capitalism, but the government gets involved and plays favoritism with certain businesses. That's crony capitalism. Okay, which is basically goes against capitalism because capitalism is against the government coming out and picking favorites. So it's weird that you even call it capitalism, but okay, whatever. Again, so among all of this, I mean, it's proven that the regulated capitalism is the one that works. Yes, the rights regulation plus. When I say regulations, I mean basically some government involvement. So social programs, yes, some social programs as well. Not too many, but some. Mm. All right, guys. I before I go, I need to make a request that you guys not only just subscribe. Subscribing is I don't know. Is subscribe does the subscribe button do anything even when it comes to live streams? Because it's not good enough to hit the subscribe button. It's important that you also hit the bell notification. So please hit the bell notification. And guys, introduce this channel to anti-Israelis because I realized like if you know anti-Israelis, like we need haters in the chat. You have no idea. The Persian live stream has become so much fun. At the end of the show, we go through some of the comments by the haters. So I need haters. I need anti-Israeli people on this chat. So maybe if you're advertising our channel, maybe drop a link. Go maybe pretend that you're an anti-Semite and go to the anti-Semite Discord servers or whatever and be like, look at this. I don't know, dirty Zionist, like this evil blood like I shouldn't say that. YouTube might think I'm saying. I don't know. Basically, say something that they say, and you're like, guys, let's go attack this channel. Just drop my link wherever the Jew haters are, and just tell them that, like, oh my god, guys, can you come here in the chat and let's attack this guy, okay? And maybe that will help us. That would help the channel. Yeah, please please go find Jew haters wherever they're gathering and get them to come here. It will make the chat so much more fun and active. And then you guys, the only problem is that some of you wouldn't be listening to me anymore because you would be too busy. I mean, that's okay. You would be too busy fighting with them in the chat. But all of that will make the chat so much more active and it will grow the channel. So I'm trying to make something like that. I don't know how the pro-regime Iranians have found me on the Persian channel, but I'm trying to get something like that going on here as well. Yes, the saying Army likes responding to haters. They're so funny though. That's why. They're so funny. I like to highlight their comments. Anyway, so let's make it happen. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out. Hit the bell notification, not just to subscribe. Hey, John just came. John, you're late. We're leaving. Debbie saying it's distracting though. It's good. It's fun. Like it's distracting. It's not distracting because one of the main points of this channel is to respond to anti-Israeli propaganda. So we will be distracted because we will see the anti-Israeli bullshit and we will respond to it. And sometimes some of them are funny, but some of them are good to respond to so that we learn here how to respond to anti-Israeli bullshit. Hugs. Yeah, John. Hugs back right at you. Yeah, Heavy Gritter saying, like the stream. Yes, like the stream. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Leave a comment. I heard that helps. If you leave a comment, that really helps grow the channel. And also helps you. Because if you leave a comment, YouTube is more likely to actually give you a notification when we go live. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, so do all of that and consider becoming a member. That's a really good way to support the channel. All right, so I'm going to head out, like the stream. I already said that. Why am I keep saying that? All right, I'm Israel Kai, Javid Shah. Mwah. See you guys. Bye.